Okay, record is on. Yes, colleague, you can initiate the discussion. Please proceed.
We are Group 2, MBA 29, Stream 1, and we are presenting the project for Kampala Entebbe Expressway as a PPP project. The slides here we are presenting are from the preliminary screening tool that we had formulated on the dashboard. The approach is a public-private partnership. Next slide. For the executive summary, it reports and presents the preliminary screening results of the Kampala Entebbe Expressway as a private partnership. The analysis indicates that the project meets all major private partnership suitability criteria and demonstrates potential to deliver value for money through improved transport efficiency and reduced congestion. Next slide. Private partnership is a long-term contract between the public and private sectors in which private partner design, build, finance, operate, and maintain projects. The risk and rewards are shared between both parties. Next slide. The project overview. The Entebbe Expressway is 35-kilometer dual carriage and linking Kampala to Entebbe within 3 hours with three lanes on either side. The total cost is estimated to be $595 million US, and each kilometer will cost $17 million. The implementing agency is Ministry of Works and Transport on behalf of the government of Uganda. The finance will come from the government of Uganda and the African Development Bank. The operation 2028 tolling system to start 2 years after commencement. Next slide. The objectives for this project. 1, the project enhances connectivity between Kampala and Entebbe, reduces the congestion on the existing Entebbe road, whereby someone will be able to move faster on the express highway to Entebbe and connect to Kampala. It also improves the logistic efficiency and safety. It will also strengthen Uganda's infrastructure base for economic growth, since the highway, the expressway leads direct to Entebbe International Airport, which boosts trade by the air trade. Back to the moderator.
Thank you, colleague. Much appreciated. Our next colleague, please take over, starting with strategic suitability, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving that introduction. As a group, we went ahead to look at the suitability of this project. And we looked at the strategic suitability, among others. And here we looked mainly at evaluation aspects and their findings. With the alignment with government priorities, we established that the project will reduce congestion and travel time from like 2 hours to 40 minutes. And then on identification of service need, currently, Kampala suffers chronic congestion of over 100,000 vehicles per day. And studies by the Ministry of Works and Transport have identified poor connectivity as the main constraint that this project will address. On assessment of service delivery options, the pre-feasibility compared options like road widening, bus rapid transit, and elevated expressway will provide the best cost balance in that regard. On scoping of the project will comprise a 35-kilometer dual carriageway, interchanges, tolls, drainage, lighting, and service roads defined in the concept design. And you realize that this is now a pictorial summary of what I've presented above, in line with those parameters, and the overall comment is that this project is an excellent fit with strategic suitability. So we rated it very strong with a score of 5. because it aligns with government priorities and it has been scoped based on articulation of service needs after examining various service delivery options. We also went ahead to look at the preliminary feasibility under the different parameters. We considered the technical feasibility, environmental, social, economic, and financial pre-feasibility. And we established that the project's life cycle is estimated at a 3 to 4% of capital expenditure per year. And this is within the standard for urban highways, like you'll see in our dashboard. Then on environmental stability, the project will have some minor impact, especially on wetlands and drainage channels. Then on the social suitability, the anticipated negative effects of the project are really small, and any that may arise will be handled through conversations or discussions with the beneficiaries or the affected people and paying off of the affected parties. The economic pre-feasibility, the project will boost logistics efficiency and reduce vehicle costs because the time to get to their destinations along that way will be reduced. On financial pre-feasibility, we are looking at a 70 to 30 debt equity. That is, the project company will raise 70% of the required money by borrowing, and the remaining 30% will be from its owners, that is, from their equity. Still, as summarized here, you notice that across the different parameters, it is only the financial pre-feasibility that is not up to 5%. That's why the overall is at 4.5. And the preliminary feasibility analysis indicates the project is highly likely to be feasible on an overall basis, therefore strongly suitable to be taken forward. We looked at some of the risks and we assessed the risks according to the type, the sensitivity, and who is responsible. In delays to access land, it's quite high, and the responsible person is government, but to be mitigated easily because about 68% of the land is already government owned. As for the remaining privately owned land, surveys have confirmed ownership so as to settle any challenge that will arise. On the financing risk, it's a bit high, especially on the part of the private developer, but as a mitigation, we look at the standard practice in Uganda. The project cannot proceed unless financing is secured, so it will definitely have to be secured. Design and construction risk is a bit high, especially on the side of the private developer. There are challenges like traffic during construction, and these will be managed through night work and creating temporary diversions. The market risk and demand risk is a bit low, both to the private developer and to the government. Traffic studies from the Kampala-Entebbe corridor show over 100,000 vehicles per day. So this will guide the toll revenue forecasts. That, this summary still is under those sub-parameters, and it was rated very strong across all those parameters, apart from the risk in delay, which might take a bit of time because of what I have already highlighted earlier. Overall, the project has an excellent risk profile in terms of overall risk, allocation, and mitigation. These key risks have been identified and equitably shared to reduce the overall risk profile. So there's a high degree of certainty that the proposed risk sharing will generate substantial private sector interest, especially in terms of the high revenues that will be generated. On a whole, the PPP suitability focused mainly in these assessment areas for value for money and the market appetite. On value for money, those efficient toll collections and the ITS-based monitoring and the dynamic pricing will increase revenue because we know how many vehicles move on that road so far. Then for the market appetite, we are likening it to the success of the Nairobi Expressway that shows a large toll road, that shows that large toll PPs will succeed in East Africa because they connect across the region. Like you've seen in the graphical expression, the value for money is high, the market appetite is also high. Definitely the suitability here is very, very strong. And overall, the project is extremely amenable as a PPP, and there is a strong indication of value for money and potentially favorable market interest. So it is a good one to take on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, colleague. Much appreciated for your input. Our next cohort, please take over from here, starting with the fiscal affordability.
Thank you, the moderator, for opportunity given, and the presenters on different parameters. Now on fiscal affordability, the project really we are trying to look at the parameters like the government exposure, contingent liabilities, budget impact, and then value for money. When we assessed those in the PP screening, we realized that the fiscal affordability basically looks at whether the government can meet its financial obligations without undue burden. Since the project will be able to collect the toll revenues, this will be able to cover the operations and maintenance. So we expect that the expressway will not rely on the national budget. Therefore, this makes it physically sustainable, and the PP engagement would likely enhance value for money. The overall rating was strong, and this gives us a conclusion that fiscal commitments are within manageable limits, contingent liabilities are minimal, so the project can be taken over by the government in line with the PPA guidelines. We can go to the government institutional capability assessment. Basically, what we are looking at, we are assessing of the implementing agencies to manage a PPA project by asking ourselves questions that the experience we have to manage the PPA in terms of technical, legal, and financial expertise available. We are looking at the PPA policies and procedures, and then we are looking at the political and stakeholder support. Now, the institutions we have in this, we have the PPA unit under the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and their role of policy and financial appraisal. In our assessment, we realized that they have enough experience in PPA evaluation. We are looking at the Ministry of Works and Transport, which are going to do the sector oversight, and we hope to have a strong coordination capacity of the PPA concession. We shall look also at the legal framework. Under that, we shall have the PPA Act 2015 and the regulations of 2019. And when we assessed, we realized that we have a robust legal environment. The overall rating of the institutional capacity in the project screening was very strong, and this gives us a conclusion that the Ministry of Works can manage the PPA with support from the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and then a transactional advisor to the implementing agency. When we go down from the previous presenters, from the assessment of the entire project, we realize that under the categories we are assessing the project, and that is the strategic stability. Our assessment basically looked at a score of 1 to 5, and you'll find that anything around 4 to 5 gives us strong, and anything 5 to 5 gives us very strong. So under the summary of the screening results, strategic stability was very strong, which is suitable. Preliminary feasibility was strong, which is suitable. Risk assessment was very strong, which is suitable. Profitability was very strong, which is suitable. Physical affordability, strong, which is suitable. And then the government institutional capability assessment, very strong, which is suitable. Then in our conclusion, under the summary of screening results, we realized that the Kampala-Entebbe Express meets the core PP screening criteria and is suitable for a PP operation and maintenance concession. The government should proceed with the detailed PP structuring and marketing sounding to attract private investors for tolling and maintenance under a concession arrangement. I beg to submit the moderator.
Thank you so much, much appreciated colleagues. Let me take over from here so that we can conclude. So from our project, we have concluded the following. We have arrived at the following conclusion in regards to the key conclusions. For starters, the Kampala Expressway is strategically aligned and technically sound and institutionally supported. The other is that the risks are identified and can be efficiently managed under a PPP model. And finally, the project demonstrates fiscal sustainability and strong value for money potential. So those are our conclusions. Now, our recommendations are as follows. We recommend that we need to proceed to a detailed visibility and value for money analysis, yes, along with a developed robust PPP contracts defining risk allocation and performance indicators. We will also need to strengthen revenue monitoring and audit systems according to our assessment earlier. And finally, we will need to enhance capacity building in PPP management at the Ministry of Works and the PPP unit at the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Well, that's it from us, Group 2. We appreciate you having taken time to go through with this presentation with us. We appreciate your time once again, and that's it from us. Here's a good day for now. Much appreciated.